Before we get cracking on the BMW i8, I've got a bit of a bigger problem here. A few months ago we put a pool up in lockdown and it's turned green, so today's problem is to sort this out. So I've got my scissors in hand. There's only one way to do this, guy.
Just pull it down. It's doing it without you.
I'm the man. I'm the man. Don't worry about me. I'm the man. That was job one sorted. Oh, disgusting.
No, you've got to put it in the bin now.
Where's the bin? I'll put it in the back of my truck and take it to work. Just let it dry for a minute.
Just turn it upside down fully.
Put it over here, let it dry. Follow your boy for the pool work. Right, now we've got that job done and dusted, it's time to get to the yard and get cracking on BMW i8 Part 2. A lot has happened and a lot has changed, and there's a few problems we've come up to face. But one problem I'm having right now is that I am very, very hangry. I haven't eaten breakfast, but don't worry, we've got a solution to that. And that solution is YFOOD. With over 26 vitamins and minerals, high in protein and fibre, it is a full meal replacement drink. It's not a diet drink, it's not a protein shake, it's a full meal replacement and can replace one of your meals a day or them junk food stops you do in the garage. This is my weapon of choice today, the classic Choco, which I am substituting in for my breakfast. Let's give it a little bang. Smashing, smashing. I'm going to down that right now. Follow the link in the description. Get your YFOOD taster pack and there's a naughty little discount code in there as well. Go and do that right now. By the time we're at the yard, I hope to see you guys having a taster pack in your hand. Safety first. Here she is. Look at that. One wheel on that side. One wheel on that side. That is 2 rear suspension arms completed. 2 wheels back on. But the rear end is still in bits, and that is what we're doing next. I'm going to put some footage on the screen now so you can see how we installed the caliper on the right hand side, the caliper on the left hand side, and how we got it back together. So we had to get the drive shaft put in first, which was a bit of a pain in the arse, but we managed to get it in quite quick. And then we mounted the caliper up there. It was really heavy, so it took 2 men. I was concentrating on filming, so I let the 2 guys crack on with it. And then we had to put the bolts on the top of the caliper and the suspension arm to make sure it didn't move. And then you had to slot up all of the different suspension arms into the correct holes. There was 4 in total. There was one top left, top right, there was a bottom right, and there was a bottom left as well, but I couldn't get that on camera. And then we had to put the pins in all of the different suspension arms to make sure that they lined up properly. And to be fair, after a bit of jigging about and moving, they did line up pretty sweet, and we managed to get them all in okay. One of them was a bit hard because it had a nut on the back, but we got a spanner on it and managed to do it fine. Then we had to put the bolt in the front of the caliper, which goes into the drive shaft to connect the caliper to the drive shaft. That was pretty much it. There was a few more bolts we had to tighten up, and then the whole thing was done. It was a very rewarding job and pretty straightforward, to be fair, nothing out of the ordinary. But yeah, i8 rear suspension completed. Bosh. Most of it was pretty easy, but I was actually out of the office, so I couldn't record loads of it. Stuart actually cracked on with it and got it done. But it was pretty straightforward, pretty much like putting a caliper on most cars, to be honest with you. We've actually had a bit of a problem at the minute. The rain has been preventing us from working on it, and because we can't get it inside on a ramp yet, we haven't been able to work on it. But there are a few things that we've picked up on and noticed, especially to do with the front end, which I'll show you now. So I know that I said there was some damage under the front end. Well, the damage is actually worse than we expected. If you look down here, the actual aluminium subframe has completely snapped, and it is in complete bits. Then we'll come around the other side and you can see how it should sit, and look, that is bolted and masticed onto the back. So it's actually going to be very difficult when we pull it off, because we're going to have to make sure that when we reattach it and mastic it back on, that it sticks in the exact same position, or none of the other panels will line up. I've actually had a look online, and nobody else has done that on an i8 yet, so this is going to be like one of the first ones you'll see on YouTube, which is going to be very, very difficult. Tell you what's been actually quite hard, it's been stripping these panels off, because they're so fiddly and the way they clip together. I've broken so many bits, so what we're going to do next in part 3 is we're going to start reassembling the rear end. Because we've got both suspension arms back on and the wheels on, that means that we can then start putting all of the panels on the back. And I think my plan is to change the colour of that to silver using all of these panels, because then all we're going to have is one door and a wing left over that aren't silver, rather than having to unwrap all of that that's purple. It's just going to be a nightmare. So we're going to have to go through this with a fine tooth comb and unclip all of these extra side panels and stuff. Look, it is just so temperamental. I'm going to use these headlights off of this one because I think I may have snapped that one when I pulled it off as well. I'm not too sure. And just like that, the rain starts. Another problem that I've noticed is the interior stitching. On this car, it's got blue stitching in the seats and on that seat as well, whereas this one isn't blue at all anywhere. Gonna have to get that restitched and put in there because I can't have odd mismatching seats. That just isn't gonna be something that I want to put to my name and sell like. But the overall dash in there is all okay. Everything matches up. It's quite cool really that the whole interior of that pretty much is the exact same as that one. It's the bollocks. Now this bonnet as well, if you see it in this light, round about here, there's a dent in it. You can just see it above the top of the badge. The bonnet in that one is fucked as well, so we're gonna have to replace the bonnet. I don't know whether I'll be able to get that bonnet bent back out into the right shape. I'm not sure yet, but until we start taking it off and lining it up with panels on there and seeing what it looks like, it's really, really hard to tell. Another problem we've got is the side skirt down the bottom. On this car, it's broken, as you can tell. Same as this car, it's actually broken on that one as well. So we've only got the one side panel from this side that is going to be able to go on, because the other one on that is broken. So there are actually a few more parts that I've got down on a list that I'm going to order before we start working on the front end and reassembling it. And also then, look, the windscreen as well. Something so small that I didn't realise was broken is broken, and that is going to cost me about £800. I can't remember if we replaced the windscreen in the McLaren or not, but I remember doing it in my Porsche and that was like £700. It's just not cheap. I don't know if I showed you last time, but look at that. That is basically a fake exhaust that creates synthetic noise to make it sound like a race car. Not sure how I feel about that, but yeah, that went on super well. The drive shaft is all back in there. Look, as you can see, drive shaft all in. The drive shaft around this side didn't actually need changing. It was all okay. It was only a couple of suspension arms up there that were a little bit bent. Here you go, here's the broken caliper. I am going to be listing a lot of this stuff on eBay as spares and repairs, because that is from the driver's side and not all of it's broken. The caliper could still be used. There's just a few bent suspension arms. Probably not going to sell the one off the passenger side because that was pretty smashed up. But I'm going to put a lot of these bits on eBay, so if anybody does need any bits for their BMW i8, let me know, because I'll have a lot of parts for sale. This episode hasn't really been a lot of rebuilding on the car, but because of the weather, I just haven't been able to work on it, and it's pissing me off. All I want to do is get it ready and get it inside so that I can work on it full stop. I've got a whole week booked on it next week and the week after, but as I say, the weather is so temperamental. Until it's dry, I can't do anything on it, which is just pissing me off. What I'm actually really excited to do is get under that front end and see all of the cables and how the electric connects and how the power is distributed, because I know it's got a 180 horsepower electric motor and a 180 horsepower engine, and I'll see how they distribute that against the wheels, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And a lot of you guys have said that this is a very, very different type of rebuild you've not seen before, and it's quite interesting to see how a car like that's engineered and how it works. So that will be very, very exciting. And plus, I'm also looking forward to getting into the interior and finding out how it unclips, because I have a sneaky suspicion, right? Let me just show you. I genuinely think this whole panel here is going to be a 2-section, so you're going to be able to take this off and not this, and I think it's going to be really easy. Oh, bang my head. I actually think it's going to be a really, really simple dash change. That is pretty much all for today's video. Back next week with a part 3. Hopefully we've got some more work done. Hopefully we can get that rear end put back together a little bit more, and maybe even start on the front. Our plan is to go rear end, front end, inside, God knows what problems we're going to come up against. It's going to be a very, very interesting one. I know this hasn't been amazing this episode, but this series is going to be crazy. Honestly, it's going to be the most rewarding thing when I can put my foot down in that BMW, down the motorway, and then shake someone's hand when I sell it. Anyway, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, put your post notifications on, follow this series. It's going to be a banger, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.